Computer model is a type of computer program that simulates what could happen in a situation given certain parameters. They have many uses in many fields of science, including but not limited to meteorology, physics, astronomy, and many more. For example, in meteorology, to the left of the text is a computer model of a hurricane taken from meteorological data from satellites. How are computer models used in science? In science, they can be used to make predictions when given certain circumstances, and a very helpful tool when the experiment a scientist needs to perform would take too much time to collect data or is too expensive. For example, in a high school situation, when the high school may not be able to afford the lab equipment to do a physics experiment, or in a commercial setting when multiple rocket launches is too expensive and too risky, so they need a computer like simulation to actually see what would happen. As far as computers used to run these simulations, the best example is the Sierra supercomputer owned by the National Nuclear Security Administration. This is used for the example I mentioned before with the nuclear bombs going off in cities. It's also used to measure the decaying uranium in nukes in the U.S. stockpile, because the uranium decays over time, which can affect the blast radius and safety of the nukes. For those that do not know what epidemiology actually is, epidemiology is a study of spread diseases. Most people commonly think of like epidemiology as like the people in the hazmat suits in Africa poking at dead donkeys and stuff, but actually they do a lot more than that. They study diseases like cancer or like the spread of HIV. And like in recent times, they've been transitioning more to like statistics and trend tracks using big data and stuff like that. For example, in the 70s, they were able to trace back lots of causes of cancer through interviewing cancer patients in a hospital, deciding or narrowing down what kind of lifestyle choices they made, and finding a correlation between all of them. In epidemiology, however, computer models are mostly used to they can use like predict how certain diseases would affect certain populations in, let's say, America, Europe, or India. Epidemiologists also use these models to study the possible effects of like current diseases in current times given like actual parameters. Let's just say a coronavirus or the SARS virus. Source 2 has a lot more information on this if you want to see. It's just way too much to actually put in a slide with like having it be under 5 minutes. Coronavirus and computer models. In epidemiology, computer models, just mathematical models in general, have been used to attempt to predict behavior and spread of viruses for a long time. In recent times, computer models were used to aid in deciding what actions to take to prevent coronavirus. They usually use exponential growth curves with a little information that they actually have to try to predict what would happen, like how the curve would look. Use it like it adds current infection rate. They also use computer models to see what would happen if they shut down, let's say, small businesses or grocery stores or airports, and can plug in variables such as infection rate if people would wear a mask or people would social distance to see how it would affect this growth curve. Behind the text, you can see an agent-based model using with the whole United States and the growth curve to its right. Are these models reliable? The quick answer is that it depends. No one really knows. In the beginning of a disease outbreak, it's very hard to tell how the virus is going to react when introduced to a population of people. There are many factors that are simply unknown. So when the factors are unknown, you kind of can't tell what the outcome is going to be reliably without doing some guesswork. Computer models also help scientists in different ways. And not just trying to find out how the virus spreads, but also trying to find a cure for the virus. Do this through something called protein dynamics, which is where they scan the virus's molecular structure and put it into a computer simulation. What they hope to find is some hole in the virus where they can insert another protein or some kind of drug to help cure the virus. These holes are called cryptic pockets. They're very, very, very important to trying to find a cure for the drug. And according to a known biophysicist, these holes are only visible in these type of simulations, which is why computer models are very, very important. Using protein dynamics to try to find a cure for the virus is not necessarily new. Back in the Ebola virus outbreak, scientists used protein dynamics to try to find a drug to cure the Ebola virus, and it worked. They found a cryptic pocket in which they can insert a drug that would shut down the entire protein of the virus. But how can you help? Fooling at Home was a project designed to help researchers analyze the virus and find a cure. It uses power pooled together from many computers to do calculations for protein dynamics, and you can download it on your computer to help the cause. The specs on your computer don't really need to be super high, but it helps obviously if you have a big gaming PC. But you can download it on any old laptop like I have here. But protein dynamics takes a lot of complex calculations and it needs lots of computing power, so any PC helps.